again. How are you? Well, this is one I was very excited by as we were developing the content, and I know Luis and Mohit very well. I think you can feel from the content and the story that we just shared that Humans of Binance goes very much beyond being just a campaign. It's a celebration of the humanity of crypto and the opportunity that this wonderful technology affords many. And when I first joined this industry, it was very clear that there was huge potential in how we tell stronger stories about the benefits of this space rather than just focusing on the technology, which is important, but sometimes it dominates. So I just want to give a huge round of applause for Luis and Mohit for coming here today and joining us to share your remarkable stories. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
So Luis, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
So I've been lucky enough to spend time with you over in Mexico and spend time with the community there over the last number of years. And to those that aren't aware, Mexico is one of the highest crypto adoptions globally. It sits at number 16. What was it that brought you and drew you into this industry?
Wow, that is a very good question, Rachel, because, well, I joined crypto, it was in 2016. And I know nothing, no knowledge, it was no information out there. It was a little bit confused for me, but I'm a technology man, okay? And I was searching and searching, and maybe some of the audience here knows that when you don't have any information, you lose money. That's what's happening for me in 2016. And I decided in some time to leave crypto. I said, crypto is not for me. I lose money. I don't want to lose nothing. I will still get in on my job. I am a TV producer for more than 30 years. And I said, no, I'm just going to do my job. But the time was, in that time, I saw that the technology was getting up. Okay, and crypto is getting up and up and up, and I decided to look for more information. And in 2018, at the end of 2018 and beginning of 2019, I discovered Binance. And I started to learn lots of knowledge about that, and I say, that is the technology. If we turn around about the technology when it was the internet, in the beginnings of the internet, and the transition of that, I said, maybe this is going to be the same. Why not to be here? And well, just Binance was there.
So you really exercise a lot of resilience in order to continue learning and continue educating yourself.
Yes, it's a very key information for all the people. The education is first.
Amazing. I'm going to switch gears a little bit now, but Mohit, your story is very powerful.
Thank you.
It starts from a moment of loss.
Yeah.
What was it that motivated you to come back again into the space and to take that second chance after being so badly scolded, by a scam?
Okay, so it's a very interesting story. Again, I started my journey with Lois. He was joined in 2016, and I was in 17. Very less knowledge, nothing more aware about the crypto part. Only the investment in the Bitcoin was because of the trading, buy, sell every day, and no knowledge about the blockchain technology and stuff like that. I got scammed in, MLM scheme. Somebody showed me that, how much profit you can gain out of this, and it was purely a scam. I lost a lot. It was a huge setback for me at that point of time. I was shattered. I was in shock. Not for, monetary-wise, but mentally also. I was in real pain at that point of time because I lost everything because of the false promises. Then I thought, there is one thing which is wrong. Everything can't be wrong. You have to come back. From inner it came, that something I have to do because I have lost. I can't lose it like that. You have to do something. To get your money back, do the right decisions in life and do the right investments. 2018, I got to know about Binance. Binance got launched globally, and everybody was talking about Binance. It's a new exchange, doing pretty good in the market, and promoted by well-known people and stuff like that. I thought, let me give it a shot. Maybe everybody is doing a wrong thing. Maybe these guys can do something good for the community. And then I, started using Binance. There was a very little trust because I was shattered. I was in a big pain. But when I was trying to, use Binance, I realized that it is built in such a manner what community is exactly looking at. So they have touch point, all the, touch points which community was looking at. The user interface was terrific. The security was top notch. I was again scared. I thought, I don't know how will they perform, in 1 or 2 years. We'll have to analyze it. I read the white paper of Binance, their roadmap, and I realized that whatever promises they did in the roadmap, they are fulfilling that. And that thing, and very positive feedback from the community. It was more of a community exchange than a business kind of a thing. That really impressed me, and I thought to give it one more chance, and I started investing in, putting my funds in Binance and, tried to trust it, and I think that really worked for me.
How did you manage, I think we've all encountered this where when we entered into the space a little bit earlier, friends and family had big question marks around why are you doing it, and especially since you had been involved in that scam, like how did you manage that and the comments from friends and family that I'm sure were loud in the ear?
Absolutely. So even if you look at in 2025 also, people are scared. They are scared of investing in crypto. The markets are not going well. But if you look at the broader perspective, I always tell them that don't look from a trading perspective. Look for what is the future of cryptocurrency, what is the future of the blockchain, what are the projects doing. Companies are investing, ETFs are coming, big hedge funds are investing, strategy is there, and everybody, So look from that perspective rather than trading, because if you'll trade, you'll always lose. It's highly manipulated, it is getting regulated, but it'll take some time. So we need to understand that it's a safe haven if you are investing wisely.
And for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, Binance is top notch in terms of securities. Most important part is the security. You need to secure. You can invest X amount of money, but if you don't know how to protect it, that is really doesn't make any sense at all. So that really matters a lot, that how you are using it, what is your horizon in terms of the time span, what is your way of thinking, how technology is evolving. That is where you need to look at it. Only then I convince them. Again, they have a different conception altogether. It's dumping, the coins are dumping. Invest in good projects. Look for the good opportunities, what is around. So that's my.
So really doing your own research and focusing
do
on
your
that.
own research.
We have a lot of OGs that are here, but what I love about Binance Blockchain Week is I always meet newbies and people that are entering into the space and kind of attending here to see how they can take that first step in.
Yeah.
You mentioned education as a key part of your journey. How did you approach that, as someone, that was just starting and maybe didn't have all the tools that we had access to now?
It's a very important point of that, because if you don't have education, for everything, if you don't have education, you can go forward, okay? And we have now Binance Academy. It's a very trusted platform. You can start learning inside, because some people want to, yes, I'm going to start learning, but I want to invest at the same time. And I think that is not the way. The better way is to do it is first, you get inside of the academy, educate yourself, and when you feel that security, okay, maybe you can start investing. Yes, a lot of people in Mexico do it, but by that way, okay? But yes, there are a lot of people, like I said, Mohit said, yes, they are stopping, they want to invest, they have a lot of money, or they have, I don't know, too much money or some money, and they're going to invest it. But if they don't have the education, they can do anything.
Yeah, you really need to be self-aware.
Yes.
In this space,
always.
I think, and be constantly testing yourself. It's a very empowering
Yeah.
technology,
Yes.
but you also need to know the boundaries that you need to set up for yourself within it.
No, the technology every day is getting bigger and bigger.
And just to add on to the Lewis point, you'll get hundreds of resources to educate yourself, but what to trust is really important. That's where I think, from my learning point, Binance Academy really helped us. Everything is there, from chapter 1 to chapter 100. From scratch to you can build anything. So where you can really trust, the source is genuine. You can go through it, and do all the learnings from there.
And what other forums or touch points or other places do you go for your education beyond Binance Academy? Where do you, because one thing I do think that this is an industry that you need to be curious and ask a lot of questions. Always. So do you rely on friends and family now? Where do you go to for that?
That's really curious, because I always talk with my family. Well, my wife first says, "Hey, Luis, what is that? What is crypto? What is blockchain? What is that? What?" And she starts with that curious, but always with that have meetings with some friends or meetings with the community. She was always listen and listen and listen and listen. And then you know what, Luis, I'm going to be there. I want to be there. I want to invest something. Well, first you have the education. Yes, I have you for the education. Okay, perfect. No problem. Let's do it. But when I start talking with brothers and with my brother, with my sisters, and I don't know, cousins and neighbors, inclusive. Okay, yes, the education is the principle. We have to approach that it's a better way to enter to the academy, to start learning on, and then yes, you can do it. And in Mexico, we are Binance inclusive. There are a lot of meetups, crypto coffees, inviting a lot of people, and yes, the adoption is getting bigger every day, even in our families. Yes.
One thing on that point of family, one thing I talk a lot about at home in my own family and with my extended family and with my broader marketing team is the fact that everything I know about finance, I've learned via friends, via osmosis, via listening.
Yeah.
There isn't robust financial literacy that we're trained in school or as we're growing up. And, having this is Binance Junior.
Yeah.
Which are sub-accounts essentially where 12 to 17-year-olds are able to, through their parents' accounts, build their own portfolio, which is what's really exciting.
Wow.
And the goal of that really is about bringing literacy into the home and opening up that conversation, at the dinner table, at the breakfast table, while you're having coffee. Mohit, I would love to talk to you a little bit about this, because obviously your journey, your re-entry into this space was motivated by you wanting to provide something special for your daughter and help her realize one of her ambitions. Do you openly talk about financial education now in the home, and how do you approach that?
Okay, so interesting, man. Obviously, we don't get so deep into it, but because end of the day, they are the kids. Okay, I speak to my wife very regularly about the financial things, and that how do we. So again, she is not that OG of crypto. When I tell her that my investment is a little bit going in crypto, and we are doing this, then she certainly gets sometime upset that why you had already lost a lot. But when I speak to her and show her the horizon, that this is the perspective I'm looking at, she understands that really well, and that goes well with the family. Yeah.
So it's really about simplifying it for her and making it relevant.
Absolutely. That really helps. That simplifying the thing.
Fantastic. What are you both excited about next? You're here, you both traveled very far distances to join us for this week. We're so grateful as Binanceans, and you now as the extended part of the family. What are you excited about learning this week during the course of Binance Blockchain Week?
Wow, it's really nice to be here. I was on Token 2049 in April, I think, yes, it was. But I always want to be here at the BBW today. And sometimes they said, well, maybe I will go. And now I'm here. Very excited. Yes, knowledge, because I have to return to Mexico to bring them all this communication with all the people. No, I think in Mexico we need more approach about the technology, and obviously this talking with people now here, I will bring them more knowledge for them. I think this 2026 is going to be bigger for Latin America, not only for Mexico. It's going to be bigger, and we know Mexico. It's a huge, important country for adoption now.
Yeah.
And yes, we will do it great. That's really emotion. That's really, really great. Yeah.
I think this is the 4th year in Binance blockchain.
You've been at more blockchain weeks than I have.
Yeah. And so Binance is life, okay. It's engraved in my life now. Yeah. And see, you get to know more about what is happening, what is the latest technology coming in the blockchain world, what are the kind of integrations happening, what are the different projects doing. Get to know more people, get to know more about the technology, what is the roadmap. Again, not a short-term thing, but obviously if you look at the long-term horizon, you learn a lot and you interact with different people, different community altogether. That really, and you know, we translate that, so when I go back to India, I always try to, you know, translate it to people that how Binance is building the future. We need to understand that. That is really important, how they are integrating products in their ecosystem. It is not, again, not, you know, launching a project and just going off. It is about what is the perspective there behind that, you know, what are they trying to do. That is what we really need to understand. And I reciprocate that, you know, in India, that don't look for short term. Go to these kind of events. Binance Blockchain Week is a very good learning platform. You need to learn a lot. You need to educate. You educate yourself. You know, you get to know more and more about different technologies, what is coming and what is road behind 2026, 27. We don't know. Only these forums helps us a lot. So that's, I think, that's really kicked me off to, you know, come here.
So we're very lucky this week that we're
Wow.
soon to hit our milestone of 300 million users.
Wow.
Now, there's humans, incredible stories behind those, and I'm really excited to be able to share more over the coming months, weeks and months. But we're still far away from hitting that mainstream adoption. We're still very early as an industry. You know, to those that haven't yet, who are sitting in this room now or watching from home, that haven't yet taken a step in, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them?
The one piece of advice, it's you can trust Binance. You can trust because it's a very trusted platform. Educate yourself, okay, and move forward. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I don't need to be fast. I'm just need to keep moving forward. That's it. Yes.
From my perspective, whenever you are in doubt, just go to Binance homepage, see the number of users increasing. That will create your trust, because it is 1 second you will get 10 users. So the number is counting like this, okay? So you really want to build the trust in something which is really secure, really transparent, and doing a good job. Just go to Binance homepage. Don't register. Just see the numbers. You will get to know where are we right now.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I promise I didn't pay him to say that. Can I just say a huge thank you to each of you for your candor, for your warmth, for spending days with us filming and on research with the team. And you know, these are just 2 of thousands, if not millions, of stories that we're lucky enough to have access to. So I just love to give you a big Binancean warm round of applause from everyone here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.